Good morning, everyone. As Matt said, my name is Doug Mavrinac, and I run the Maritime investment banking practice at Jefferies. And on behalf of Jefferies and our longtime friends and partners at Marine Money, Matt, Mike, and Lorraine, the glue that holds us all together, welcome to the 37th Annual Marine Money Week. You know, as I contemplated topics that I wanted to touch on for this year's opening remarks, the obvious theme was the impact of U.S. tariffs and Liberation Day on global trade, shipping markets, et cetera. But then news of two other key events took place that have relegated that tariff topic to the end of my comments instead. The first thing that I wanted to touch on is the recently announced news of the passing of Jim Lawrence. I don't know how many of you guys knew Jim, but as many that did in this room can attest, Jim was always the most positive, energetic guy in this room. He was a visionary when he founded Marine Money, a publication that led to all of this under Matt and Mike's leadership, under their leadership becoming the world's preeminent industry gathering. Many things can be said about Jim, but I will just simply say I will miss seeing his smiling face and his white suit in the front row. The second thing that recently transpired was the news late last week of heightened conflict in the Middle East. And while we have all seen and lived through conflict in the region for many years, I was talking to a friend of mine yesterday from Tel Aviv who was supposed to be here, but we had to Zoom instead for obvious reasons. And he was saying, hey, this latest iteration is at another level, nothing I've ever seen in my 50 years of life. So, obviously incredibly tragic, but our job is trying to assess the impact of that sort of thing on global shipping markets. And as experienced shipping people in the room know, conflict and turmoil usually provides a boost to shipping markets, as is happening now in the crude tanker and products tanker markets. Now, that said, no one really knows how long the current hostilities will last, nor the ultimate outcome. But in the interim, it's hard to see how heightened conflict in the region will not buoy some of the shipping markets, even if temporarily. Now, finally, the original topic that I wanted to kind of touch on pertains to the impact of widespread U.S. tariffs on global trade and shipping markets. While the topic is not nearly as dire or tragic as the Iranian-Israeli conflict, the impacts are equally important to both the global shipping markets as well as shipping finance markets. And I can say this from the shipping finance markets perspective at Jefferies, during COVID, activity in shipping markets dried up. This year started off quite strong. We probably did close 3 to 4 transactions during the first quarter of the year, selling Altera shuttle tankers for Brookfield to Moran. We took Asiad public in Oman, a couple other transactions as well. Good first quarter, a bunch of M&A transactions that we were working on, capital markets transactions, et cetera. And then Liberation Day happened. And each one of those transactions that we were working on essentially hit the pause button, literally every one of them. Fortunately, we've had some additional assignments in geographies that are not as impacted by the tariffs in the works that are now filling the gap. But the vast majority of those assignments we were working on after a very strong first quarter just went on hold. Now, that said, just like during COVID, there are countless strategic conversations taking place at the moment. And once the majority of tariff situations get resolved and uncertainty subsides, we're hopeful that in the coming months that we'll get some of those positioning conversations that are taking place right now turning into actual transactions, also similar to what happened during COVID after COVID subsided. But it has had an impact, it has slowed activity. But once again, there's a lot of conversations happening, which is why I think that these next few days should be quite important. There's going to be a lot of conversations happening, a lot of panels, a lot of thoughts expressed. The time could not be better, I think, just because, like I said, there's a lot of things going on. You may not see them, there may not be transacting yet, but there's a lot of positioning, just like we had coming out of COVID. So anyhow, with maybe some of those thoughts on the shipping finance markets, geopolitical events, et cetera, on behalf of Jefferies in collaboration with our partners at Marine Money, we'd like to welcome you all to the opening of the 37th Annual Marine Money Week. So with that said, Adam, are you next? Oh, there he is. Sorry.